Hey everybody! In this month's gel press video, I'm going to show you a simple masked plaid technique that I used for the backdrop for this adorable Easter card. I'm starting with my 5x7 gel press and this beautiful turquoise paint from Dina Wakley. I will be adding a little bit of white to the brighter colors that I'm using today because I do want a pastel Easter plaid. I have a piece of copy paper that I've cut to 5x7 just to help me with alignment, and it's thin enough that I can see through it to the grid paper, and that will help me line up my Post-it tape that I'll be using for masking. Just a few strips of this tape. I like this tape because it never damages the surface of this very thin paper, and I'm just going to randomly put a few strips of this across the first blank piece of paper. Now I'll remove that so it's ready to go, and I will mix up the paler blue just with my brayer. And I am rolling off the excess paint. You do want this to be fairly thin, especially for plaids. If you're not using a paint with some transparency, getting a very thin coat of paint on your plate will allow even an opaque paint to appear transparent. I have a Hero Arts background stamp that I'll be texturing this paint with. Really nice sort of half circle pattern. And then I will just put the masked copy paper onto my press. You really want to rub it well and get the paint right next to the pieces of tape. The tape isn't very thick, but you do want a good crisp stripe, and the tape will help you pull the print off the plate. Then you can just remove this tape, and you can see how cleanly it masks. So the white space will be filled in with other colors in subsequent prints. So there you can see how neat that looks. Now it is important as you go through this process just to place the tape in different places on the print to preserve each subsequent layer of color that you're putting down. I won't be preserving any white, just the colors. But a white stripe addition to your plaid would look good too. So I'll just pull up what's left on my plate, get a little bit of a ghost print for another time. And I had left the lid off of my pink craft paint, so it got kind of goopy. And that's okay. It still works fine. And again, just a very thin layer so that you're not completely covering up that blue. I'm using a different Hero Arts background stamp. I'll link you to both of these below. This one's very intricate and I love the design. Now everywhere that there is no tape, we'll pick up this pink pattern, and these two colors play really well together. I stuck with primaries for this exercise just because I know they'll all look good together, but you can use any combination of colors that you find attractive if you're not making a cute little bunny Easter card. Now you'll see that along with the pink and the pattern, it picked up just whatever was left of the turquoise on the plate in those pink stripes, and that gives it even more interest. So now I have just a few areas that remain white. So I'll put a piece of tape not covering the white part, and I'm trying to space these out a little bit differently so that it doesn't look too regular. So I will cover up an area that isn't white right next to the white area that's going to be filled in with yellow. And then I'll add one more over on the edge. And I changed my mind and decided I wanted a skinny stripe on the bottom. So now I'll be using yellow paint. This paint has a little thinner consistency, and I got a little bit too much of it, honestly. So you'll want to thin that down again, removing some of it with your brayer and making sure that the yellow and the white paint get well mixed together. This paint actually has a little bit of transparency to it, but since I'm mixing in the white, I still do need to remove all but just the thinnest layer of this paint before I print. And now for the final print. I will pick up yellow that will be preserved in every area that's white. And I did not texture this layer, so those areas will be solid. Although they did pick up a little bit of paint that was left on the plate. So I'll remove that. I actually really like the way these colors play together. I think the layers are just beautiful. So I hope you'll try this technique with just a few pieces of tape, and thanks so much for watching.